had just turned 18 and I was in my senior year of high school. I've never been a great student. I'm absent-minded and have ADD, which wasn't being treated for back then. Surprisingly though, I had a lot of friends and I was fairly popular. My school year started out like any other, though this time with the promise of college applications and letters in the future. I was hopeful, excited. I wanted to do my very best and get into my #1 college. But things started to change. In the second semester of my junior year, I was diagnosed with depression, a diagnosis I had to push for. I was taking meds for it and thought it was making me better. As school wore on and the fall ended, things began to change again, and not for the better. By the time the spring semester had rolled around, I was not doing well. I got irrationally angry, said things I didn't mean. I thought my mom was out to sabotage my life. I barely attended school. The days I was out of school far outweighed the days I was in school. I couldn't get out of bed. It just didn't seem worth it. But that wasn't the worst of it. I used to love math class. Even if I failed all the rest of my classes, math was the class I knew I could pass. I paid attention. I took detailed notes. My teacher loved me. Now, however, I would understand things in class. I could easily grasp the concepts. But when I got home, my brain had forgotten everything. My notes were gibberish. The homework was like Latin. My teacher knew me from the year before. So when I started failing, he noticed. He kneeled beside my desk one day and asked if everything was all right. I started to cry. No, everything was not all right. I was getting angry at everything. I didn't care about anything anymore. My mom was out to get me. I couldn't remember things I had learned earlier that day. I was very much not all right. At the end of the school year, I didn't graduate with everyone else. I had failed 2 core classes and would need to retake them online and pass to get my diploma. I was mortified. Sure, I had never been a great student, but I had also never failed. Cut to a week later. I'm sitting with my dad in my brand new therapist's office. I had forced my dad to come to help me out with telling her everything, since I used to, and I still do, have a tendency to go off track. I remember at one point, he made an offhanded comment about my mood swings at the drop of a hat, but I brushed that off. But as the end of my 2-hour session winded down, she looked at me with sympathy and gave me my diagnosis, bipolar disorder type 2. I was terrified. Bipolar disorder? Wasn't that something some criminals had? Was I gonna lose it and attack someone? I got home, having stopped at the pharmacy to pick up my brand new medication, and cried as I looked up my new label. I was pretty much a monster. The media I trusted told me so. Yet, as I went through the symptom checklist, quick and severe mood changes? Check. Paranoia? Yeah, check. Heightened libido? I guess? As I went through the list, the description, I realized, oh my god, this is a highly treatable disorder. And once I find the correct dosage and type of medication, I had a chance to be like everyone else. For the first time in my life, I could be normal. That realization shocked me to my very core. The next morning, I happily began my new regimen of medications. This was the first week of the month. I didn't really see any changes until the last week, when things got worse again. I had what I call paranoid hallucinations. I wasn't actually seeing anything, but in my room, every time I closed my eyes in bed, I saw the shadow, this haunting figure sitting in my doorway, waiting for me to slip. It was a giant black dog, hunched over, eyes glowing a sickly yellow color. I was horrified. At the end of the week, I didn't think I could handle the medication any longer. I couldn't keep seeing the figure. And then suddenly, I was clear. It was like I was seeing the world for the first time. Like I had been walking through a haze my whole life. And now, everything was brighter. It was beautiful. I had walked out the end of the tunnel to the most beautiful world I had ever seen. I've been on 3 medications now for nearly 7 years. And after the first few months, my artistic creativity came back. Sure, there are some side effects. I now wear glasses because one of my meds make my eye muscles weak. But it's a small price to pay to be myself again. I'm not trapped in my own mind anymore, shouting while my anger takes over. I'm not running away from the damage I caused, crying. And I graduated just a few months later than I should have, after earning 2 A's in my online courses. Life sure looks a lot better when your brain is on the same page you are.